me bring in my guests for this hour. Joining me are criminal defense attorneys David Bruno and Francis Johnson. Thank you both for being with me this evening. Truly appreciate it. And David, I'll start with you because I want to get a sense if, I mean, we're in the middle of the state's case. Everything looks great for the state when they're in the middle of their case. And they're doing a fantastic job, in my estimation. If you disagree, let me know. But I want to know, I want you to put on your defense attorney hats and tell me if you think there's some daylight at the end of the tunnel here for Nikki in any way for a defense that she can put forward in this case. David?
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's going to be tough for her, especially knowing that Earl Howard has pled guilty and is the possible witness for the state to tie it all together in the conspiracy. Look, that conspiracy, and we just covered it in the preview here, is an agreement between two people to commit a crime. And that does not mean this defendant had to actually pull the trigger or actually light the arson. Basically, if she agreed to do it, and then her co-conspirator went out and did it, and she had that agreement, and there was an overacting furtherance of the agreement, she is guilty of the conspiracies as well. So and we know he pled guilty to this already. So they're trying to tie her to him as much as possible because they have him ready, if needed, to come in and give a first-hand view as the agreement between the two. And if that is true and he comes across credible and all that evidence corroborates it, I think she's got a tough, tough case against her.
Francis, I want to get your thoughts on that same question. I mean, at the end of the day, perhaps she could craft a story that Earl Howard was the guy behind it all, that we heard about the list, the journal, we saw the hat, all that stuff belonged to him. Basically, she was going to leave her husband. They were going to go somewhere. That's what the list was about. And ultimately, this thing happened she had nothing to do with. Now, she would have to admit helping out with trying to get away with it. But I don't know if that's enough for the murder. If she can get away with the murder, I think that's a win for the defense.
Well, I think it's true that the prosecution and ultimate guilty plea of Earl Howard is not a slam dunk for the prosecution as to conspiracy, but she's got a tough hill to climb, especially given the fact that Earl Howard is prepared to testify and to connect all those dots, including what might be the essential overt act of the insurance policy and the two fires that were set to cover up this death.
So let me ask you this, David. Those lies that she's told to try to cover things up, would that be considered an overt act as far as this conspiracy is concerned?
Arguably, I think the prosecutor is, but I don't think that's all they have. It's gonna be very fact specific here, and I don't know. I think that, look, there is a saying: "He who calls the co-defendant loses," because when the prosecutor does call the co-defendant, now all eyes on the co-defendant and the credibility of the co-defendant. So I agree with my esteemed colleague on the other side here that it's not a slam dunk, but if they could tie it all together, it will be persuasive.
Yeah, and I've always said, guys, the conspiracy of the prosecutor's best friend. It's not that difficult to prove, and you get very, very high rewards from it because you can get the same sentence you would if you got convicted of the underlying crime. All right, guys, stand by. I do have to take a break. Coming up next, we're going to bring